Traditionally at high school, parents would come in for a 5-minute parent-teacher interview with their one of 9 teachers that their students would have in those early months of Year 7. What we put in place was we had the students brainstorm ways in which they could take their parents for a tour of the centre whilst also disseminating information to their parents and giving their parents an understanding of how their learning was progressing. So the students brainstormed the ideas in their family groups, and from the family groups they put together a student checklist for a student-led meeting, and then they went home and padded out the student checklist with their own input. So they might have been doing things totally different to another student.
Hi Mum, welcome to the Learning Centre. Let me show you around. This is the science area. We've all signed up and we have to sign up in the sign-up sheet, which is just around.
Most people would only instigate these conferences after a good year with that student. Well, we'd only had 6 weeks with our students, but we were seeing amazing things happen. We were listening to amazing learning conversations between students, and we didn't think it could hurt because the parents were asking us what was going on. We thought the students could explain it better than we could. So the parents came in for what was actually a 40-minute meeting with their students. We only had a couple of parents at a time, so these student-led conferences ran over 4 days, which is great for the team of teachers because instead of one night with maybe 50 parents or 80 parents that you'd see for 5 minutes each, we had the parents coming in one by one, and we had 4 days, quite intensive, but the students were leading the conference.
Yes, please.
Yep. Okay, I'll write you down. Now it's due back at 12 o'clock.
Thank you.
Okay.
They came in, and as family guides and teachers, we didn't interfere. The student introduced their parent to some students around their family table, took their parent on a tour of the centre, showed them the boards where the resources were up, showed them where they stored their portfolios and their learning folders, showed them where their personal tub was, and then they sat down with their parent and they went through the processes in their learning folder and explained how they were integrating all their areas, using the capacity matrices, using levels of help to link to their resource matrices, and how they were really becoming independent learners in themselves. The level of sophistication really was amazing to us. These parents and students were having educational conversations. They were talking about the students' learning folder as a tool that they use, not just as something that they were producing and what are you getting for this? Are you getting a B? Are you a C student? Are you an A student? Now, their parents aren't used to that. They're used to them pulling out the poster and saying, I did the poster on the animals and I researched here and I used the internet and I've used the computers. The students weren't talking about that. They were linking all the pieces of work together because they were saying to their parent, this is some maths tasks I were doing, but I applied it over here by doing an English essay.
Mrs. Briggs, I'd like you to meet my mum Tracy.
Hi, how are you?
And we got introduced to their parent by the student at the end of it.
Enjoy the tour.
It was brilliant. It's so interesting to see the difference that's between when we used to learn and when these guys, what they're doing nowadays. Her being able to take a lead and being able to show her work and not just sitting there listening to a teacher about this is what we've done, this is how we've done it, this is how she's performed. She's been able to show where she's been going, what she's been doing, how she achieves it, and it's just an easier way and more confident way for her to learn how to present herself as well.
It's sort of a bit embarrassing showing my mum my work, as she hasn't seen some of it, but it can also be really good because the teachers compliment you